Hello, friends. I've been shopping recently for some new clothing for the holiday season, and as I've been doing that, I've relived some of the memories I have of the dressing dilemmas I had with my husband Harvey, who, while he was living with younger onset Alzheimer's disease. For example, I remember I was flooded with memories of shopping for him for clothing to gift him at Christmas, clothes that he never would have worn prior to the diagnosis. Hello, I'm Dr. Renee Harmon. I'm the author of Surfing the Waves of Alzheimer's. It's a teaching memoir about my husband Harvey and his time with younger onset Alzheimer's disease. And in the book, I don't specifically address dressing and clothing issues, so I wanted to take the time to do that now. Harvey was always a very conservative and neat dresser. And so it was really hard for me to watch him lose this aspect of his self. So I tried to help him maintain his dignity through that. And as with all things in Alzheimer's disease, because it is a progressive disease, it's not a static disease, things don't stay the same. Those dressing dilemmas changed over time, and I had to constantly assess where we are and make changes. At the beginning of the disease, Harvey didn't have any difficulties with dressing, obviously. The only difficulty was him remembering what event or occasion we were going to. So I would have to remind him so that he could dress appropriately for that occasion. I knew that he would be embarrassed if we showed up at an event with him being underdressed, so he did not mind me reminding him about what the event was that we were going to. Eventually, I noticed that he was wearing the same few outfits every day. He had this repertoire that was just getting smaller and smaller, and I realized that it was just difficult for him to make choices about clothing. So to help him with that, I winnowed out his closet without him knowing. I kind of did it surreptitiously. I just pulled out all the clothes that he hadn't worn in years and bagged them up in a garbage bag for donation, and then started taking out seasonal clothing and would rotate them in and out. And over time, I just winnowed down those clothing choices more and more so that he had fewer choices to make. I noticed at one point, late in the middle stage of the disease, that he was wearing the exact same outfit every day. And it didn't bother me, but I was worried about hygiene, especially if he was wearing the same underwear every day. So I started laying out his clothes for him while he was taking his shower in the morning, so that the outfit was laid out and he could get dressed in the morning by himself. Eventually, even that was too difficult for him. He didn't know what order clothes went on. I found him once trying to put his underwear on over his pants. So then I started laying out his clothing in a stack in order that they should be put on. So I would have his underwear on top, and then pants, and then an undershirt, then a button-up shirt, and then a cardigan, for example. And then he had some problems knowing how to put on garments. I found him once trying to put on a pair of underwear over his head. I found him once trying to put on a sweatshirt, putting his legs in sweatshirt arms as if they were pants. So I started to assist him with dressing and undressing daily. And when that became even too hard, when he was unable to understand what I needed of him, what I was asking him to do, as well as our paid caregivers, it was time for a memory care unit. There were other things going on as well, mostly involved around resistance to care, him not understanding what we were asking him to do. And by that time, too, I had limited his clothing to very simple clothing, like pull-up pants, a button-up shirt that was easier for me to button up, and slip-on shoes. Once he was in memory care, those medical assistants could dress him in a snap, and they transitioned him to t-shirt, sweatpants, and slippers. So I hope, and before I end, as an aside, dressing appropriately for the weather was never really a problem for Harvey, but it might be for some of your loved ones who are living with Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. It's okay if they wear multiple layers of clothing as long as the caregiver can assess them to make sure they don't get overheated, right? And then caregivers should be very aware that their loved ones are dressed for the weather when they're going outside, be it the heat or the cold, rain or snow. So I hope my examples have given you some ideas about how to address some of the dressing dilemmas that you might have, but also I hope that I've given you permission just to go with the flow, drop some of the expectations of how we want to present ourselves and our loved ones during this holiday season. Be well and keep your balance. Thank you.